and swept along, a victim of forces not of her own creation. A set of barristers' chambers was not like a company or even a partnership. It had no animus, but was a collection of individuals, each of them paying rent to occupy space in the same building. Each in his own employment, answerable to no one, but all relying on the same group of clerks to organise their professional lives, bringing in work and processing fees. Just as the identity of any set of chambers depended on the personalities of the individual tenants, so it was that the stability and smooth running of chambers depended on the tenants' mutual dependency. Where personalities clashed, splits and factions were often the result. It had been Morris who had started the whole thing. Morris, ambitious, aggressive, piqued at not having been made head of chambers, had created the split almost as an act of reprisal against those who had opposed him, fomenting little rows and divisions within chambers. He had gradually brought others into his camp. Roger, who had been a protégé of Morris and who largely tended to take his side no matter what, and then Marcus and herself. She had had her own grievances, of course. She had felt for some time that she wasn't being clerked properly, not getting work of the quality she deserved, but without Morris's persuasion, she wondered if she might not have stuck it out. It had been a great leap to leave the chambers where she had been a tenant for 25 years. Morris had flattered her, talked her into it one evening in a wine bar. "The fact is, Anne," he'd said, 5 Caper Court want to expand. They're too small. They need people of your calibre, your expertise." She'd known then that his own vanity required that he take people with him when making his departure. But she'd agreed. Should she be grateful to him? Should Marcus and Roger, for that matter? Time would tell. By the end of the week, they would be newly installed as tenants at 5 Caper Court, not as large in numbers as 3 Wessex Street, but no less prestigious. The word was that the head of chambers there, Roderick Hayter, was destined for the High Court bench in a few months' time. Did Morris have his once thwarted ambitions focused on that position in a new set of chambers? Very probably. It was a 5-minute walk to the restaurant in Gray's Inn Road from Bloomsbury, where Anne lived. Marcus and Roger were already there. Marcus, black, beautiful, and 25, was lounging in his chair at a table by the window with an air of magnificent boredom, looking as immaculately turned out in chinos and an open-necked shirt as he ever did in his 3-piece suit. Roger, on the other hand, who was sitting studying the menu through his round glasses, was dressed in a Gap t-shirt, scruffy jeans and trainers, and looked as dishevelled as he did in the eternal M&S suit and unironed shirt which he wore for work day in, day out. The attention paid by each to his appearance, Anne always thought, was symptomatic of their peculiarly different, though formidable intellects. As a lawyer, Marcus Jacobs was fastidious, hard-working, and somewhat haughty, fiercely proud of his ability to deliver snap opinions on complex legal problems. Roger Fry was another character altogether. Sweet-natured, kind-faced, with a donnish air which belied his 28 years. Roger conducted his social and his working life in an erratic and eccentric fashion, but seemed somehow to bring both off. His appearance was a matter of general indifference to him. So too his surroundings. Conferences with well-heeled and powerful clients in his room at 3 Wessex Street were generally conducted amid a clutter of books, papers, and cardboard boxes stacked with documents. It was as though Roger was too focused on law, on the case, and the facts before him to pay much attention to his immediate surroundings, unless those surroundings happened to be a pub or a wine bar. But both Roger and Marcus were successful